Good evening. What do you think when you hear the word healthy? Our company's name is Healthscope, and the product we're presenting today is Forget Me Not, an app meant to bring holistic health directly to students by encouraging them to track different aspects of their health.
My name is Hriday Agarwal, and I'm the CEO.
My name is Anvisa Brahmachari, and I'm the COO.
And I'm Rakiba Sultana, the CFO. So let's get started with the problem. Health has always been something important to us, but it became even more important because of the pandemic as we became isolated from each other. Naturally, a lot of questions came up, such as, are we doing enough to maintain our health, and what more can we even do to improve it?
So let's talk about our story. My brother was a very stressed out student, so he didn't really have the time to take care of himself. As a result, he turned to fast food and completely cut out exercise. This deterioration of his mental health led to physical health problems. This lifestyle went on for a few years, and after getting his blood work done, we found out that my brother was pre-diabetic and in danger of having diabetes for the rest of his life. He was advised to incorporate more exercise and have a better diet, and after making these holistic lifestyle changes, he became much healthier. So this story inspired us to create a platform that helps students maintain their health even under stressful circumstances. So what is holistic health? Holistic health is a combination of your physical, mental, and social health and how it all comes together to affect your overall health. For example, stress can affect your weight and vice versa. Being healthy is not one size fits all, so it's important to know your body and what it needs exactly.
So we ended up coming across an astonishing case as we dove deeper into our research. The Cornell Gorge suicides. They were a cluster of high-profile suicides in Cornell University. Now, I need to remind the audience members of something really important. These are 18 to 19-year-olds in the peak of their life, and yet they've driven so far to the brink that they end their lives.
Similar to the situation in Cornell, my brother may have ended his life if he didn't get the help he received. That's why we need to target this problem at the high school level before it progresses to such a point.
After all, physical health and mental health have always been intrinsically intertwined. For example, 50 to 80% of people with mental health conditions develop sleep problems like insomnia, while on the other hand, people who are obese are 55% more likely to develop depression.
We also took the time to interview Nimai Gupta, CEO of Gopal Farm and holistic health advocate, and he firmly believes in the necessity for holistic health for students, which is why he endorsed our app.
Our research led us to the problem. How can we improve the holistic health of high school students? Looking into our target population, high school students, we looked more specifically at Stuyvesant High School. And this is a very popular Facebook group among Stuyvesant students. And a lot of students at our school believe our school's response to mental health issues is, and I quote, the biggest joke that they've ever seen.
This joke of a response towards mental health has led to 405 out of 752 students to value their grades more than their mental health, and that's more than half.
And we additionally found that over half of our peers often ignore their symptoms when they're sick, which just goes to show that because of Stuyvesant's poor response to mental health, cultivating an environment where students value their grades over everything, they've also come to undervalue their physical health. Now, I think I need to point out the fact that 40 to 60 Stuyvesant students just like you and me, go to Cornell every year. Now, imagine if they were given the resources that our app can provide them earlier on. They would be able to thrive in stressful environments like Stuyvesant and Cornell and more.
So what is our solution to this very crucial issue? We reached out to Ms. Unseen Guthrie, a Stuyvesant guidance counselor and a licensed yoga instructor for advice. And she said it's necessary for students to reflect, to have space, and preventative measures are important. And that is exactly what we intend to do with our app. She endorsed us. Our solution is an app called Forget Me Not, which would have 4 aspects: management, accountability, resources, and competition.
So our first aspect is tracking your health. We included both physical and mental health categories so that students might be able to maintain a balance and notice if there's any correlation. So we included the hours of sleep because the culture among students is very much less sleep means you're a better student, screen time because hours have skyrocketed during the pandemic, and meditation to help foster healthy habits. We included exercise, food, and water so that students may be able to look back and ensure that they are getting a healthy amount of each. We also included sicknesses, stress levels, and feelings so that students may be able to reflect and see if there's any patterns. If they're constantly sick or constantly feeling sad, then they will notice this and get the help that they need.
We want accountability to be a really important part of this app. For example, we'll have a buddy system, which allows students to pair up with another student and perform check-ins when they see that student isn't doing so well. We also have the option anonymity, which appears in numerous forms such as anonymous profiles and anonymous messages. Finally, we have the option privacy, hence allowing students to control who can and cannot see their information, including their parents, because we want this app to be able to generate a weekly report to send to their parents.
Some resources we will include in our app include therapist recommendations. This information is often hard to find. We'll have details like location, price, and more. We'll also include information about upcoming workshops that can be in the neighborhood, from school, or more, and how-to videos to foster new hobbies for students, and maybe even lifelong skills like yoga, meditation, cooking, and more. We'll also include hotline numbers that could be suicide hotlines, eating disorder hotlines to help students who use our app. For the competition aspect of our app, we will have a leaderboard that would have the highest streaks overall for different categories that Brittany mentioned earlier, like screen time, sleep, and an overall leaderboard. And students would also have the option to create group leaderboards with their friends, which would help foster improved social health.
We're also implementing a health point system, which is similar to the GPA, except HP reflects the student's health. So let's say a student hits all the food groups, then they would receive 100 points. We're also giving teachers the option to offer extra credit based on the number of health points a student has. Students love competition, so what's the better incentive than this to stay healthy? So why should students use this app? One of the challenges we faced that guided the creation of this app was getting students to focus on their health when grades have always been such a priority. So one, it improves your health. Forget Me Not focuses on both physical and mental health, unlike our competitors like 8Fit, Samsung Health, even Fitbit. And as we proved earlier, mental health and physical health are both equally important and intertwined, which is why we need Forget Me Not. 2, time management. This app helps you build the skills you need to implement healthy habits, and these are skills you're going to be using throughout your entire life. 3, colleges. Colleges want kids who could thrive in high-stress environments. They want kids who can take care of themselves, and they're making an investment in you. So by proving to them that you are a good investment, that you are at your full potential, you're telling them you are a good choice. And for a community. Students will be more incentivized to take care of their health when they're being reminded to do so by their peers. Competitors like Calm or Headspace, they don't have these constant reminders. They don't have these constant check-ins between friends and family, which is why our app is better.
Now, I'm sure we've effectively illustrated how great of an app this can be. So let's get to the budget. With the $1,350 as a grant and $150 for a prototype, we'll be devoting $1,000 to app development. Now, I understand that developing an app can be really expensive, but because we have the help of the APCS department and Stuyvesant to develop the beta version, we'll be able to promote our beta version to schools before we actually get off the ground. 2, we'll be devoting $200 to graphic design, as we want this app to be as accessible as possible to everyone, both in terms of aesthetic preferences and general user interface. Finally, we'll be devoting $300 to marketing on numerous social media platforms, in addition to the generous promotions we receive from the Stuyvesant Guidance Department. We want to generate income for this app through advertisements from fitness gyms, wellness shops, and so on inside the app, as well as having schools purchase app packages for their students for this app so that students can register with their email and take full advantage of the features that the app offers.
So as for the future of our app, Mark Twain Middle School is known for sending students to Stuyvesant, and Stuyvesant is known for feeding kids into Cornell University. Because of this, we plan to reach out to other populations, including middle schools, colleges, jobs, and high-stress environments. If we provide students with the resources that they need going into high school and going into college, we can break the cycle.
To conclude, our app, Forget Me Not, would ultimately be a platform where students are able to incorporate holistic health into their lifestyles and their routines, rather than optional at the end of the day, after their stressful tests, their stressful homework, and more. Ultimately, we want to create a platform that would allow students to reflect on their health and just take care of themselves.
We often hear the phrase that the youth are the future. We hear it from politicians, we hear it from leaders in society. But when will we see action to protect the youth? We need suicide prevention, we need healthier lifestyles, and that's why we need Forget Me Not. Let's help the youth reach their full potential.
The future is ultimately brighter when we look at our lifestyle choices through a broader scope.
Let's not forget about health. Our app, Forget Me Not. Thank you so much for listening to us. Do you have any questions?
Wow, thank you again, Healthscope. Forget Me Not. I hear the passion, the energy, and the conviction in your testimony and your product. I'm now going to turn it over to the judges.
Thank you for that excellent presentation, Forget Me Not. And it's clear, it's very obvious that you have done your data, you've done your homework and your research. That's very obvious from your presentation. So we've seen other presentations about health and wellness, and we know that there are lots of apps out there in the world that promote health and wellness. What makes you different? What makes you better?
Already mentioned other apps like Calm, Apple Health, and like Fitbit earlier. But like something that really makes us stand out is our accountability section, which allows students to interact with each other and like check up on each other. But like there is a privacy setting, so students are able to make their data private at the same time.
Thank you. And in terms of that accountability section, what are you doing in terms, I know that you mentioned that students value their grades over their mental healthness. I know that we're promoting competition, but what are you doing to also promote healthy competition where you don't want students to have this new platform that they're obsessing over because they want to win or they want to be in first place? So how are you going to promote healthy competition?
Healthy competition is mainly promoted by the people you're surrounded with, and by allowing students to interact with their friends, they're gonna have healthy competition. Like, I'm not gonna compete with Anwisa in an unhealthy way because she's my friend and I really care about her. And that's essentially the whole point of this app. It's to help your friends stay healthy. It's to help them, we lose so much sleep because we're so worried about our grades. It's so we can watch out for each other, so we don't fall into this whole rabbit hole of no sleep, no exercise, no healthy food. It's for us. It's to help us maintain our health. So it really defeats the point if students fall into the unhealthy rabbit hole.
Thank you.
Any other comments, judges? Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you for this presentation. Someone who is also in mental health in schools, I know how needed this is. And actually I have a personal connection with Stuyvesant because one of my really close friends and colleagues is a social worker at Stuyvesant. So I know there's been huge just awareness around mental health and suicide awareness. And I love how you tie that into your presentation. So I do want to ask though, because suicide is such an important issue to address, I'm thinking about the liability of your app. What if a student is in crisis, does express suicidal ideation? It's really important that you have protection in place, but also how are you going to address if a student's really in crisis on your app?
Well, we would have a feature. Well, students would have the option to like set up their account with their parents, for example. So parents would be able to receive like weekly reports if the students and parents both agree that that if their child has like not eaten for a week or like done their exercise for a week, and they could like reach out. And we'd also provide like hotline numbers and like our app would like give a notification if you haven't like been healthy for a week, or like if you've been feeling really down for a week, if you need like hotline and that support.
Similar to the parental feature, we're also trying to implement a guidance counselor feature where students will have the option to allow their guidance counselors to see their stats. And if the guidance counselor notices that something is going wrong with the student, like they're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're very sad all the time, then guidance counselors will reach out on their behalf.
Thank you. And I also wanted to ask just more of just a curiosity question, why you guys chose the Forget-Me-Not flower. I don't know if there was some thought choice behind that. I just didn't hear it in the presentation.
Well, our app's idea is like a lot of students tend to often forget about their health and like neglect physical health, mental health for like their grades and everything. So like we thought the words forget me not like really stood out to us because ultimately we want our app to like stop students from like forgetting about these important aspects of their health.
Thank you.